Welcome to Money Conversations with KJ. KJ is a lifelong entrepreneur who's made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, and found his way back again. If you're looking for a sterile how-to, you're in the wrong place. KJ and his guests will walk you through real-life situations told by the people who live them, and they are as messy as they are inspiring. Each episode will offer lessons learned, advice on how to replicate successes and avoid pitfalls, and a new perspective to power your financial literacy. Far from a one-size-fits-all, this podcast can help you build a roadmap to your personal promised land. Milk and honey for some, whiskey and steak for others, and remind you that you're not alone on this journey.
Well, hello. Welcome back to the show here. Today I got a really great guest for today, Mr. Danny Villa. Welcome to the show, Danny.
Hey, thank you, KJ. Appreciate it.
I think today and I don't know all your story because I don't like to know everybody's story that comes online. I don't know why I'm getting a little reverb there.
That's because I'm such a fantastic guest, and
I don't know. Weird.
The soundboard's like, you really don't want to know what he wants to say.
Yeah. They'll edit. So, Dan, I want to go through your journey of money like I do with everybody else, and I don't know your whole story, so we're going to figure it all out here in a few minutes, and hopefully we can teach some people some things out there through everybody has ups and downs with money, and the whole purpose of the podcast is that people learn from it. So let's start with my first question is, because I know right now you're 30 what?
39.
39.
Yep.
And take us back as far as you can memory-wise when you understood what money was for, like when you were a kid.
Wow. So probably the first time I realized that money could get you things was probably when I was in middle school, like 5th grade going into 6th grade. So
10, 11.
Yeah.
10, 11 years old.
Up until that point, you're like, Ma, Dad, I want this, I want that.
Right, Mom and Dad would just give us what we wanted stuff. Hey, Mom, give me whatever, right?
Right.
And then when you figured that out, what changed for you in the mind? And also, I like to. A question would be, do you remember Mom or Dad or both sitting you down and talking about money?
So, from my mom's perspective, not really. She was a housewife, and she had her mind on other things. Dealing with the house. And my dad, I don't remember having a specific conversation, but he was always advocating saving your money.
Okay.
My dad's he's old school as far as that. So you work hard, you get a good job, you get your pension or whatever it is, right. And then, you just stack your money.
So let's dig into that a little bit because I get this a lot from a lot of folks, and I think there's a disconnect here. And explain to me when Dad was like, save your money. Did he go into any detail about how much money you should save, where you should save it, when you should save it, why you save? Did he get into that, or was it just right what I call surface level save money?
Yeah, just put money in the bank. So if you get a gift, or if you get some money from a relative or somebody, and even if you wash some cars, mow some lawns, or whatever it was,
right?
It's like put it away.
Okay,
save it.
What and anything else about money? Did you get taught?
My dad wasn't. He wasn't into investing. He wasn't into other ways of making money. He had a mind state that probably was perpetuated by his folks.
Right.
So there wasn't an emphasis on, was there another investment vehicle? Can you save money a different way? Can that money earn more money than the,
right.
0.001%
right.
you get when it sits in the bank account? So
again, your story is very similar to most people I talk to. And I asked that question because I think this is the disconnect. And I found this over a lot of time and a lot of conversation with people because I know what you do for a living. You do decent, you're not a millionaire or whatever.
Right.
But my point is, as we think and look back at our childhoods and when we started to make money and then spend money and then save and or invest money. Can you share with us, so if you understood money roughly around that 10, 11, And when do you think you got your first job or the first time, your first source of making money? Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, actually, for me, it was in middle school. So I used to buy packs of baseball cards and stuff.
Right.
And then any of them that were worth money, I would sell them to the kids. And I would sell enough to get like, a big gulp or something, because I wanted something.
Right.
I didn't want to save. I wanted just money so I could spend that shit.
Right.
So like, I don't know.
So basically,
like $3-4 bucks.
Right,
or
right.
something. It wasn't huge, but that was the first time that I actually started understanding the economy of money. Supply and demand, and actually, all right, I've got some baseball cards or something.
Right.
I'm gonna sell them to these guys. And
you know what they call that, don't you? You were hustling.
I was hustling.
You were hustling.
For sure.
And you know what? In hustling, some people take that it's a negative thing, but it's not. And the fact that you learn how to hustle at that age, I'm sure, has helped you. Like you just mentioned, you're 39 years old, has helped you along the way, right? Because hustling is a good thing, and people in today's world who say have whatever they do for a living is not quite making enough.
Right.
They needed to go get what they call today a side hustle. Right. So the fact that you learn that lesson at such a young age and doing it with baseball cards, right? Like, hey, I bought it for $1, I sold it for $3, right? You made money, and now you can go spend that money on whatever, the little dream thing was at the time.
Right.
And how old were you, and what did you do when you got your first, we'll call it official job?
So that would probably be when I was a freshman in college, where I was selling cell phones. And God, what the hell did I do with that money?
Did you make good money?
No.
Then you
for a 19-year-old kid, it's you make a few $100 every couple of weeks. What was I doing? Buying stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? God, going to school.
Right.
That was the main hustle with school.
Okay.
Because my dad, his voice was still in my head. Go to get a good job, get a degree.
Right.
Get a good job, and then you'll start making your money. So all that stuff was, I bought my first car. It was a little Toyota Tacoma truck. I probably spent most of it, on gas or something, or going to, I don't know, Little Darlings. Who knows?
So did you, at the advice of your dad, which is the advice of a lot of parents, especially of that generation, yes, go to school, go to college, get a degree, right, and get a good job, and then save for later, right? So did you go get a degree?
I did, yeah.
Okay. What'd you get a degree in?
Marketing.
Great degree to have.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't matter what you do on this planet. Everything we see or touch, there's marketing behind it somewhere, right? Otherwise, we wouldn't know about it. So there was marketing. Yeah. So I think that's an awesome degree to have, because you could pick and choose whatever you want to do in life, and that degree can come in handy. All that knowledge that you learn.
Well, it's like, it's like the journalism degree of the business side. So it's versatile, but it's also very common.
Right.
So, I think, I graduated in 2006 at UNLV, so I think the curriculum is completely different now than it would have been, because of what marketing is actually
exactly marketing.
Now, you know what I mean? So, for me, it helped with presenting. It helped me do things like speak in front of groups of people or have one-on-one conversations. That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
That it helped me with.
Well, I'm sure there's people out there that are, maybe younger, in their 20s or whatever, or 20, and thinking, I want to go get a marketing degree. So, you just gave them a little schooling lesson on the reality of it. Again, we know that marketing has evolved over time, and it will continue to do so. And especially with technology and social media, the way we market today is nothing like we marketed 15 years ago,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
And then especially when you were in college for it. And again, who knows what the future brings, again, with technology and everything else.
Right.
But the fundamentals are still there, and the fundamentals helped you in your career?
They did. Yeah, it's really, once I graduated from college, I went into the real estate industry. So a lot of it was, interpersonal. A lot of it was one-on-one meetings or presentations in front of groups.
Right.
So that's the biggest thing. wasn't really about like database management or any of the other marketing components that were taught.
Right.
It was really belly to belly conversations that you have, which to me was just, it was huge.
That is huge. Well, I mean, because marketing and sales go hand in hand, and if you're going to do one or either or both, you've got to have some solid people skills, right?
Right.
You've got to learn those people skills, learn how to have conversations. Awesome. So, I'm just trying to follow the path here. So you go to college, you graduate. During your college years, then you were just holding your typical college student jobs just to get through paying your basic bills and eating and food and everything. Right. Did you at all think during those years, like, I should be doing some good things with the money, even though you weren't making a lot of money?
Yeah, I mean that's. Yeah, of course.
What you do? But so
I didn't do a damn thing with it.
But you knew about it.
Yeah.
How did you? Who taught you? Where did you hear this?
I mean, God, it's hard to pinpoint at this point, but you know, that's at around that time. That's where Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Okay, great book.
You know, started coming around, and you know, there was a lot more conversation about, you know, you're not going to have the same quote unquote retirement or pension or anything like that. You're going to have to find a way to actually make your retirement money now, because you're not going to walk into anything,
right?
You know, when the time comes. So I was aware of it, but still at that point, I'm just still young and I'm just like, let's go.
Right.
Know? So my mentality was still not at that point.
Okay.
You know?
When do you think you had a mindset shift of, all right, now I've been just living life and not thinking of my future? When do you think that mindset shift happened? You're like, all right, I got to seriously start thinking about what I'm doing with my money, because I will be, hopefully you'll be 100 one day or whatever, but you will, you know, reach an age where you don't want to trade time for money.
Oh, yeah.
So when do you think that happened for you?
In my 30s.
30s. You know, that's funny you say that, because I think most of the people I talk to that are about in your age bracket are going to say that. So it seems like a lot of people, and God, I hate to use this word, but I just can't really think of a different one, waste their 20s with how they do their money. And the fact is, and I just taught this lesson the other day, compounding, how compound interest works, and it works on time. In those years, right, from the time you're 18 to 30, those 12 years are so valuable when you truly understand the rule of 72,
right?
Which is how long it takes to double money, right? Matter of fact, it's on the board right there behind you, because I just taught the lesson. The rule of 72 is you divide 72 in the rate of return. It equals time for your investment to double.
Right.
And time is our most valuable asset. It's not how much money we can make, right? It's we need our money to make money. Well, when most people I find your age or older, like, it wasn't until my early 30s till I really sat down and got serious about, I need to do XYZ with money. Like, you don't even understand the valuable time you just lost, right?
Yeah.
So what was it, if you can remember, that actually had you this mind shift change? Because, you know, in life, like, I'm getting ready to turn 60. In every 10 years, you hit 20, 30, 40, 50. Every time we hit one of those milestones, we check our lives, right? We do an inventory, so to speak. Like, holy mackerel, I'm 30. I shouldn't act like an irresponsible, you know, moron or whatever, right? So what was it?
Plenty of those conversations.
What triggered it for you? Because you just mentioned it was somewhere in your early 30s.
So where I started thinking about that stuff was thinking more about the end goal, or, you know, seeing, like, obviously, like, we're in a golf group. We've got guys who are doing well, who have started putting themselves in position. And those guys I was not as, you know, like, active with them in the early 30s, but, you know, for me, I still had exposure to some of those guys and kind of listening to what they were saying. And not only that, but also what they were doing. You know, they weren't slaving away 9 to 5. They would no doubt work hard, but if they wanted to do something, if they wanted to break away and go wherever, hit a round of golf or whatever, they could do it.
Right.
You know, and on top of that, they were also doing business related activities And you could tell that they were already like, man, I'm tired. When I get to be 60 or whatever, I'm done. I don't want to work at all. And I'm like, yeah, that's a good idea. That's a smart move.
So basically, you were inspired.
Yeah,
right.
I would say so.
And 2, you paid attention. Have you ever approached any of those guys and talked to them about, hey, and then I'm asking this question because I want to twofold this thing, and ask you that. Have you ever had a mentor?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
2, if you have, what type of mentor? What did that person teach you? Or has anybody younger than you asked you to be a mentor?
So excuse me, I had a mentor in my 30s. He, great guy, more of the sales oriented part of things. Financially, I never directly asked somebody to say, hey,
how do you do XYZ?
Yeah. It seems like you know what you're doing. What are you doing to get better? And it wasn't because I was like, prideful or anything like that. I was just, still it was like you have two sides of your brain that are battling each other. One of the things that I've always had to contend with was the fact that, I'm a diabetic.
Right.
So type 1, had it since I was 3. One of the biggest things that you're always worried about, especially when you become an adult, is how in the hell am I going to pay for insulin, test strips, and all these other diabetic supplies and specialist visits and all this other stuff. So the focus was so much more on like trying to be, keep living than it was to actually like live and be investment minded and to think about, all right, well, you're preserving your life, but what are you doing while you're doing that? So when I got to be my early, in my 30s, even though I didn't really ask anybody directly, and nobody's asked me either, because I'm not, I don't show wealth in that way, but, I'm more of like an absorber. I'm the guy in the corner of the room that just shuts up for most of the time and just listens to people talk.
Listen and watch. So is it fair to say that when you figured that out, that you started to be a little more proactive in learning?
100%.
Did you do anything specific? Can you remember? Did you buy certain books? Did you start to listen to certain people? What kind of things did you do being proactive about having a stronger financial literacy with your money?
So I bought a ton of books about investing in the stock market.
Okay.
I started reading up about commodities. I opened an E-Trade account. I did all these things. Being in the real estate industry, I'm also, listening to what realtors are doing, mm-hmm. but also what their clients are doing and how they're building wealth and how they're growing their portfolio and, whether it's getting rental properties or just buying and flipping or whatever.
Right.
So I just got all of these pretty, it was just a flood of information.
You got some pretty good life lessons through, it sounds like you got some pretty good life lessons through the path that you started, because you're a mortgage broker, and open your eyes and open probably some doors of meeting some people that helped you along the way. The thing with when this podcast and people are listening, they're trying to, as we say earlier, right, they want to learn from what you've done in your story. And I think your story is definitely very paralleled. The typical, just mom and dad didn't really teach you, and that's extremely common. Okay. Yeah. So don't think that like, why didn't my mom and dad teach me? Because it's more common than not.
Right.
So and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. I say, parents can't teach what parents don't know. Right.
Exactly.
That's not good or bad. That's just what is.
Right.
So then you went through, in your generation, and a lot of them is typically 20 to 30. Hey, let me just enjoy life and have fun.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then start to get serious about life around the early 30s age. Right. Like, mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not a kid anymore. I got to get my shit together, right? So now with you, let's say your early mid 30s, okay, you thought about that and you're thinking seriously like, hey, I've got to get serious, and you start to be proactive about learning about money, and you're still learning about money, it sounds like.
Yeah, of course.
Right?
Yep. 100%.
And I think we all should, because there's always different ways to invest money, park money, make money, but all our lives in this day and age revolve around making money. Not that everybody wants to be wealthy, because not everybody does.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a myth. There's a lot of people like, I don't desire to have all that money. I just want to be what they call comfortable.
Right.
Right. But the comfortable is different for every single person. I always say money does one thing for us, one thing only. It gives us options.
Yeah.
Period.
Yep.
So what kind of options do you want out of life? Right. So some people are like, well, I want the option to buy a G5 jet. Right. Let me spend $60 million, right?
Yeah,
Other people are like, my option is to have my money make money and live a $3,000 a month lifestyle. I'll be happy. Leave me alone.
Right.
Right.
And you're absolutely right.
Right.
Like,
So
it's the same thing as success.
Yeah,
It's subjective. It's subjective.
It's subjective. It's whatever we want. So there's no right or wrong answer here. So as I'm looking, and I want to talk about mindset and tradition, we talked about, well, mom and dad, you had a mentor, but he really didn't go down the path of financial with you, probably more life mentoring.
Life mentoring in a way, but also, sales mentorship.
Sales mentoring.
And, so it was more career based, but it wasn't like financial education.
Would you say having that mentor, how old were you when you got that mentor?
28.
28. So
about 28 to 30, 32, 33.
Looking back on that now, did that really life changing for you? I mean, it helped you a lot, or was
It definitely helped me with the career path.
Okay.
And it taught me a bunch of lessons about talking to people and just being honest, and just the sheer communication skills that you need to have in order to be successful. Because whatever your definition of success is, or financial success, communication is I think the most important part. So whatever you want to do, you have to be able to communicate with others to get it, because you're never going to get it by yourself. So he taught me a lot of that.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm definitely better off for that experience.
I'm finding that maybe 20% of the people I talk to have had or have a mentor. Some people don't believe in mentors. Like, nobody needs to help me, I'll figure this out. But think about, a mentor is an awesome, great thing. And if you ever have the chance to be a mentor, I highly recommend it. It's very rewarding. But think about people like, I'll just two big names that people will recognize, obviously. Michael Jordan had a mentor, still has a mentor. So does Tiger Woods, right? These guys who make millions and millions of dollars, top of their fields in their sports, right? Warren Buffett has had a mentor most of his life. Mentors are great things. And so I always try to promote. I mean, if you're kind of out there and you're whatever age and you're a little lost, find a mentor.
Yeah.
Right? Because mentors will become your friends. A lot of times they're a confidant. Like, you're going to share stuff only with your mentor.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And 99% of mentors are free. People just trying to help people.
Yeah.
Right. Don't hire a mentor. Work with someone who wants to help you, because they're just good people.
Right.
They're just good people. Talk to us about, now it sounds like you're in your 30s, you're trying to figure things out. Do you invest now, and what do you I don't know any numbers or anything, but what are you comfortable, and how did you get into investing?
So, the concept of investing started with into my late 20s, into the early 30s, reading about stocks. So, I did some investments. I do some investments in the stock market. I try to pick up some commodities. I've been thinking about broaching, cryptocurrencies and stuff like that, and also real estate. So my goals are, I'm going to be turning 40 in January. So by the time I get to 45, I want to have at least three other properties that are, collecting cash flow, or creating equity for use for another purpose.
Right.
So that's, it's not a bunch, but it's there. And it's something that if I talk to my 20-year-old self or my 25-year-old self, he'd have been like, nah, I'm good.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So and it was, I don't know, it's crazy. Like the maturation you get when you reach a certain point in your life, you're just like, okay, I'm making decent money. I don't need to blow the money.
Right.
You know, we're stacking, we're putting it somewhere. You know, there's people that I help in the business that, you know, are, you know, in their 60s and 70s, and they're like, you know what, Dan, I don't have a lot of money in the bank because I put my money to work. And I was like, that's awesome.
Right.
And they do. It looks like they have nothing.
Yeah.
But they've got a whole bunch. It's just always moving, and it's paying for itself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, that's definitely the objective. But you said something a minute ago that I want to touch on, which is you said, well, my goal by 45 is to have 3 properties, right? So I want to talk about goals. I teach. That's one of my lessons I teach. It's actually the second lesson I teach. Goal setting and achieving goals is done by very few. Mm-hmm. But studies have been done. Harvard studies have been done. The importance of not just having a goal, setting a goal, but learning how to achieve a goal, right? So talk to me about goals. And when did you actually first start setting goals? Do you write them down? How often? And are you still doing it today?
Yeah. So a lot of the goal setting that I had originated in my 20s, and it had to do with fitness. So at that time I was super into fitness. I had a journal. I keep journals infrequently. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, and that's something about my brain. So I'm not a huge note taker or anything like that, but when it compels me, I'm like, all right, we got to write this down, you know?
Right.
So it started there, and it was basically like, you know, it's simple stuff. Like, I want to go to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I just check it off.
Right.
And really, you know, that was that. And to me, it was like, some goals are going to be static, some goals are going to be what they are regardless, and some goals are going to change. And you know, the gym was one of those goals. For me, like the properties and what I want to accomplish there, I have a whiteboard probably about the size of this TV that I write down like leads on and stuff like that. But in the top, it's, you know, 3 by 45, and that's like, that is it.
So you see it every day.
Right.
Right.
I see it. Doesn't have to be anything, you know.
Nothing
like,
fancy.
Yeah, not in multicolors or anything.
Right.
But to me, how my brain works is like, all right, 345. That's what we're doing this for. That's why we're helping people. That's why we're, you know, putting our money in an account or putting it in to an E-Trade account instead of blowing it on whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I think I like what you said here, and I think this is probably a lot of people can resonate with the way you described this when you said the way my brain works. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. We're all individuals. We all think and act differently. But again, when all the studies have been done and we can look at the data back and how we should do certain things to achieve certain things, there's just a commonality of things. Oftentimes when people will use that phrase, and I'm not speaking specifically to you, that the way my brain works, the way I like to do things, sometimes we all have to get out of our comfort zones in order to progress, right? Now, goal won't, and per talking about goal setting here, it's we always have to know the difference between a goal and a dream. Right. A goal is something that you're literally going to write out, reverse engineer it. How am I going to achieve this goal? Whether it's a tangible something, house, car, trip, or, you know, in your case, I want to get a portfolio going. Like, let's reverse engineer it. What's it going to take? I want to cash flow $500 per property. That'd be 3 houses, $1,500 a month, right?
Right.
Cool. Okay. Well, what type of property would I cash flow $500 on? Would it be a condo? Would it be a single family? And what would be the price point? Okay, let's just say it's a $300,000 house. Okay. As an investor, it's 20% down. Okay. I need $60,000 cash plus closing. Call it 70.
Right.
$70,000. Okay, cool. Well, I want it by the age 45. Let's dissect some more. Let's see. That's one every 18 months. I got to save $70,000 in 18 months. Do the math.
Not necessarily, though. So one way, because I don't have a family, right?
Right.
I'm a bachelor. Right. So,
watch out, ladies.
Yeah.
Watch out, ladies. He's on the market.
So, one thing for me is, I can get a house, and then I can be in that house for 24 months or whatever.
Right.
Or even less than that.
Right.
And then I'll, now I'm back and I'll say, okay, well, I decide I want to move.
Right.
And then instead of putting 20%, I can put down 5%.
Right. Yeah. That's one aspect. You can go that route.
So that was one of the ways I was looking. But at the same time, I'm also collecting, obviously the reserves are increasing as well. So, like you're saying, it becomes a very lofty goal to be able to save up about $210,000 or, in that 5-year period.
Right.
But when you start to kind of think of other ways to get it done,
there's always a way.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
So that's my point.
The thing. Like I've got one now, and I'm like, all right, how am I going to use this? Well, maybe I can draw the equity out of the home that I have now.
Yep.
And then when I rent it out, it just pays for itself.
Right.
And then just second verse, same as the first, and just keep doing that.
I think the point I want to get across was, again, we're talking about goals here, is that you've got a goal, you're acting on it. There's a plan in motion. You've got the first one, and you're a mortgage guy, so you know how to be able to get these mortgages as an investor. And there's a bunch of different ways. You just described one. I just described the traditional way, but. As far as goal setting goes, would you consider yourself a prolific goal setter or a casual goal setter?
Casual, for sure.
Okay.
Like I don't have goals weekly. I don't goal set monthly. I goal set, basically yearly. And as far as like health wise,
right.
I am well aware of where I need to be on that level as far as what blood sugar readings need to be.
Right.
Things like that. It's automatic at this point.
Right.
But also, I agree with you though. Like there gets to a point where, you're talking about dreams versus goals. Dreams is like the guy in his 20s. Goals is the guy in his 30s and 40s who starts to understand that, look, you've got to execute.
Well, let's be careful on that message, because I don't want, I've got listeners all over the world at this point, and I don't want anybody that's in their whatever 20s, whether it's your 21 or 27 or whatever, to believe like I don't need to set goals till I'm 30. The earlier you start.
I'm talking about me.
Yeah, you.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I'm talking about me specifically. Okay. I was the guy that was like, man,
don't worry about
having this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll figure it out later.
Right. I've got time.
Yeah. Do you wish you would have started goals and having a different perspective about money
100%.
early, like at 20 and whatnot?
100%. I wish I had that same mentality, and I mean, when I was selling baseball cards,
right.
You know what I mean? Because you got the hustle, but now you have to have that other side of it, like what you're talking about, the financial freedom, the financial intelligence, the acumen, the ability to take no matter how small a chunk that profit is, and
got to put it to work
and make more off of it. 100%. I would be in a very different situation if I had done that.
You probably heard the term, but never really truly understood that nothing makes more money than money. Mm-hmm. And the reason that is because money works 24/7, 365. You and I don't, nor do we want to.
Right.
You know what I mean? So the earlier that we all learn how to put our money to work via investing, and again, investing is a huge chapter in my trainings, that because there's so many things that we can do, but you got to start early. I taught my daughter at 15 about financial literacy. By the time she's 20, she had her first condo. Right. She's fully funded 3 years in a row at 21, her retirement account.
And that's
right. So I know I don't worry about her with money. When she's 30, she's sitting on, $250,000.
Right.
Right. And again, we can always go, man, I wish I'd have known that early. But this is my whole purpose and reason of this type of a podcast. The program that I'm offering is to teach people the fundamentals of financial literacy, things that we all believe our parents, should have taught us. Let's just say, right?
Yep.
But they weren't taught, so they couldn't teach us.
Right.
You know what I mean? They teach us things that they know. I find that like your dad told, be a saver. Your dad was a saver. You became a saver, right? We all, the apple, like they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, right? So learning these lessons early. What are your thoughts about retirement at this point? And what does retirement mean for you?
Retirement means the ability to not work. The ability to have your money working instead of you, not producing. The input should never be you when it comes to the output of money, right? At some point. To me, that's retirement. So how do I get there? Well, like anybody who's got a regular job, I've got 401k, that I've been aggressive on with a company match, and that's helpful.
Right.
That doesn't do a whole lot. Got the goal of investments, commodities, some gold, some silver, stock market. I've got, the plans to grow the property portfolio, and that's where I'm at. I think I probably, especially in my career field, if I really wanted to, I could probably grind it out for another 30 years.
Right. You don't want to do that.
No, of course not. But this, again, it does tie back into, like you're talking about, writing those goals down and having an actual tangible plan, because that's huge. So
it's really huge. It's anything. Do you think the coach has a written plan for every professional sport coach has a written plan, or they're not winning championships, right?
It's a play.
So, but as far as retirement, you had said retirement means I don't have to work anymore. So, do you believe retirement's an age?
No.
What age do you think retirement should be?
I don't. I believe it's wherever you say it is. So it ties in hand, right, to what do you feel good money is, or what do you feel success is? Like, if I just want to be a nomad and walk the earth, I'll just say I'm retired right now and just walk out, But to me, it's like, can I make at least, I think I would feel comfortable if I was making $250,000, $300,000 a year.
Okay.
I think if I could count on that, which is a goal, it's more of a dreamy goal at this point. But if I could get there, that's it.
So
that'd be done.
I'll give you
I think there's potential.
I'll give you some examples, because a lot of people tie retirement when we use that retirement. And again, this is to me, we've all been programmed to believe what retirement is. And I believe it's the government, right? The government has set this up almost 100 years ago now, where yes, you go work for ABC company and do your 30 years, sometimes 40, whatever, and get your AKA golden parachute retirement, sometimes a pension, but pensions are almost a thing of the past. There's just a handful of companies out there that have them. They're not completely disappeared.
Right.
But if you think about people like a Warren Buffett or a Bill Gates or an Elon Musk, or even what's his name? Facebook. Zuckerberg, right? Mm-hmm. So Zuckerberg became a multi-millionaire before the age of 30. So money clearly wasn't about retirement for him, right? So most people tie retirement around money.
Right.
I don't think we should do that, because Warren Buffett goes to work every day.
Right.
Does he have to?
No, but he loves what he's doing.
Exactly. So for when you describe retirement is when I don't have to work anymore. But if you're not working, what are you going to be doing with your life?
Golfing.
Well, you're not going to golf 7 days a week.
Oh, is that a challenge?
That's a challenge. I challenge you to do 7 days a week right now at your age.
One of these days.
At 39.
Oh, hey, if I could putt most of the time, I'll do it.
No, you would fall over of exhaustion.
Oh, yeah.
It's extremely difficult to golf 7 days a week.
No, I get it.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, you see my shirt? Yeah, no. And that's a good point, because, if you do love what you do, then...
Yes, I think, again, this is programming, right? I think we've been programmed to strive for retirement. And I've been trying to teach people, no. Don't strive to retire. If you're doing whatever you're doing in life and you like what you're doing, whether it's a real heavy passion or not, I'll take entertainers, for example. Entertainers never retire. They just end up dying, right?
Right.
So they just keep going because they love it, right?
Right.
Movie stars, right? They want to make movies till they die. So if the mindset needs to shift, in my opinion, in this country to stop thinking about I have to work so I can retire. No. The goal should start really early. To me, it should start to the teens. Would be like, what do I need to do to become? There's 3 goals first. I need to become financially secure first. Then I need to become financially independent. After financial independence comes financial freedom. Most people just ever talk about, well, I want to be financially free. Well, that's like saying I want to win the Super Bowl. There's a lot of steps before you get to win the Super Bowl, guys.
Yep.
Okay, you don't show up on day one and you're in the game and you won the Super Bowl. It didn't happen that way. There's a lot of other things. So being financially secure means, in a lot of people, there's a lot of some different definitions out there, but basically it means when you have enough money in the bank to pay your bills for between 6 months to 12 months. Right?
Right.
So that's what, because once you have that, one, you're going to sleep real good at night because you're not going to worry about if I get hurt and I can't work, my bills still get paid. I got money. If you work for people, hey, if I got laid off, fired, or whatever, I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to go ahead and take the next few weeks or whatever and go get me another one. And I can still pay my bills. Most Americans, I say most, a high percentage, 70%, can't do that. They're living paycheck to paycheck. If they're out of work more than 2 weeks, they're like, holy crap, I can't even eat, right?
Yeah.
So because it's a high percentage of people can't even, don't have enough money to have a $400 emergency paid, right? Mm-hmm. So financial independence means when your money makes enough money to supply your lifestyle, you are officially financially independent. Now, that's a different equation for everyone. Like we said earlier, some people out there, I'm happy, $3K a month, I'm good to go. My car's paid for. My house is pretty much paid for. $3K a month. I can go to lunches a few days a week, dinner, your little small vacations. Good to go. Simple life. Fine. Other people out there, $25K, $50K a month I need. I can't live on less than $50K a month, they say.
All right.
Like, and and then regular guys like you and me are like, are you out of your mind? You spend $50K a month? What are you buying?
Yeah, that's nuts, man.
But those are the lifestyles, right? Because of everything, clothing, transportation, automobiles, this, that, and the other, and then going all over wherever the planet, right? That gets real expensive. So I think if we all were taught early these financial goals and take the retirement out of your mindset and you reach those goals, guess what? You would have reached that goal already at your age. Mm-hmm. You would already be financially independent. I can't guarantee it. I can almost promise you.
But you feel good about that.
You good because again, understanding the rule of 72, compounding how money doubles, and when you started early,
right?
By 40, you would be so close to financial freedom. You'd be financially independent, but your financial freedom number, whatever that number is, and we're all different, right? You'd be closer to it. So I think it's important that, especially I have these conversations and I've interviewed people from, 17 to 75. And the perspective of the mindset of where we are in the meter of life, right? Mm-hmm. 20, 40, 50, 60, whatever. The perspective, the mindset is so different. And so even at you're right in the middle of life. You're getting ready to be 40.
Right.
The average age.
Some scary shit, man.
Yeah. So you're like halfway. It's like halftime for you.
Right.
It's like, okay, didn't have a good half. I'm behind.
Right.
I'm a touchdown down. I got to catch up and I got to win the game.
Right.
How many teams have gone out there, came in the second half, and just blew it up?
Oh.
And won the game big.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you got plenty of time.
Yeah.
You got plenty of time. It's just learning all of these little lessons to help you get there, right? But interesting story. I've got to believe these listeners out there are like, man, I'm 40. I'm doing the exact same thing that guy did. But I'm missing a couple of pieces of the puzzle to put together, to put myself in the right position to insure yourself. Because by now at 40, you realize that last 10 years went by like that.
Oh, yeah, man.
I can guarantee you this. The next 10 is going to go twice as fast.
Man, I hope not.
Dude, it does.
I really hope not.
Bro, I'm just sharing with you.
Why? See, that's why I want to go off 7 days a week.
I can't control time.
Yeah, no, you can't.
I'm telling you, I'm getting ready to be 60. I was like, I was just 40. What happened? Are you kidding me? Think about, doesn't 08 seem like it was just a few years ago?
It's crazy how fast it's gone.
08 was 13 years ago, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
13 years.
I mean, that's when I joined the industry. Like,
isn't that so? You could see how fast it goes. It ain't going to slow down. I don't know what it is. It is.
And I was just thinking about that the other day. I was thinking about September 11th. I'm like, is it really going to be 20 years?
Years, bro.
I mean, and then, I graduated high school 2000. Have I really been out of high school for 20 years? Like, what the hell have I been doing?
Right.
And I agree, like your listeners, especially if they're in my boat, which is probably, a reasonable amount of people out there. It's like, first of all, don't knock yourself for doing what you're doing because you needed that to get to wherever you're at, right? But it's like, at the same time, it's like, man... Now you got
we always want to play Monday morning quarterback. The should have, could have, would have done this.
Right.
The fact of the matter is, the listeners that are out there right now listening to me, they're listening to this because they want to learn. They want to hear your story.
Yeah.
Right. They want to go, what can I do? Like you mentioned earlier, I was the guy in the corner listening. Right. Remember that?
Yeah.
You're like, so that's what these people are who are being proactive. Mm-hmm. And they see the title of my podcast, Money Conversations with KJ. Hey, what's he talking about? And I'm just bringing on people, and your story's your story, it's a great story, right?
Well, thank you.
It's not over. You're just barely getting ready to be 40, And
I'm at halftime, man. I'm having my orange slices.
You're having orange slices, getting ready to get back in the game.
Throwing it in some Hefeweizen or something, I'm getting ready to start that second half. But I tell you what, it feels good to know what is available for you out there. Even if I was probably just not listening or paying attention when I was younger, now I understand more about what I have to do. And instead of feeling like the task is daunting, I'm like, well, shoot, let's go.
Well, what would you share with today's 20-year-old who had the same mindset you had at 20, knowing what you know now at 40, right? Because a 20-year-old can listen to a 40-year-old because you guys still seem relatable versus a 20-year-old wanting to hear a 60-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. What would you tell a 20-year-old knowing what you know now at just almost at peak, staring at 40 years old here?
Well, the first thing I would do is really, what do you love doing? Because now we're in a day and age where you can literally monetize almost anything you want. Right. I mean, you see it on social media, Instagram. You see people, making podcasts or posting these little reels where they're doing whatever.
Right.
And they're able to monetize it. So, I would say, what do you love doing? Like, what do you enjoy doing? It could be, I like kicking a soccer ball around, whatever.
Right.
And then, just
follow your passion.
Yeah. Because I think that's part, like, just to kind of tie in what you were saying about us being programmed that retirement is a specific age. I think a lot of it has to do with people working to make money instead of just working because they love what they do. So by the time you get to be in your 40s or in your 50s, you're like, I can't stand working anymore. I've never loved anything I've done. So I'm just ready to I'll take whatever money I get from the Uncle Sam or whatever and just ride out in the sunset.
Right. So
I think that's probably going to be a really big shift for the younger generation. Because I have my little brother is 21. So, and we have conversations like this a lot.
Good.
And he tells me about what he wants to do. And he kind of has this, he's kind of in the same boat that I was in because, he hears, in one ear he hears my dad.
Right. Save.
Right. Save. Good job. Get your feet planted.
Right.
And then on the other side, like, he's growing up in a generation where really anything is possible. Well, it's like
he's growing up in I consider a very extreme tough generation because this generation is all about instant satisfaction, right? They want instant results. Right? They want now. They want to be rich right now. They want the Lamborghinis. They want the big vacation. They want, right? Mm-hmm. They got to be willing to put in the work.
Yeah.
All these guys that are out there making a lot of money, it's not falling in their laps. They're working for it.
Right.
Don't kid yourself. They got a lot of hours, a lot of time and effort into making that type of money. And the reason people make more money today than 20 years ago when you were 20 or 40 years ago when I was 20.
Oh, that's inflation.
No. The reason they make more money, and we couldn't make that. We literally did not have the opportunity.
Yeah.
You didn't have it 20 years ago. I certainly didn't have it 40 years ago. The opportunity that the kids have today because of technology, right? I did a video on side hustles a couple of months ago, the top 40 side hustles of 2021. And out of the top 40, 30 of them had to do somehow or another with technology.
I believe it.
Right? Only 10 of them had nothing to do with technology. But so 20 years ago, the technology wasn't at the level it is today, so you didn't have that opportunity. And
Right.
it wasn't even around when I was 40 years ago. So these kids today can do that. And that's why we see these kids become these entrepreneurs online, whether it's their YouTube, phenoms or whatever, or they're starting whatever little business and making a lot of money. The problem is, to me, it's a problem that they're spending that money like buying these Lamborghinis and $200,000 watches and all this stuff, where I look at these young entrepreneurs who are, kudos to you to make, the 6-7 figures of money. Understand, I look at it like an athlete. How long is a good athlete's career? If you're really good, you can go 15 years.
Yeah.
You have to be over the top to go any longer. The average professional athlete, and you could pick whatever sport, is typically 5 to 7 years, right? And they can make a lot of money in 5 to 7.
Right.
I'm talking millions, right? But if you don't do the right things with it, we already know now the stats are out. They're broke.
Yeah.
How do you make millions of dollars and 5 years later you're broke? You know how? No one ever taught them about money.
Right. You're just not making the right decisions.
Nobody taught them about money. Hey, I made this money. It's time to go make my money make money. Now, some of them have. If you look at someone like a Magic Johnson, holy mackerel, what that guy's done.
Yeah.
If you look at Shaquille O'Neal, he promotes everything from car insurance to chips or drinks and everything, right?
For sure.
Hey, he don't care. Keep it going. So I think as a 20-year-old, for your brother, absolutely find your passion, but it's not about how much money I can make. It's about how much money I can put to work.
Right.
So you don't have to work because you have to work. You work because you want to work because it's a passion. And you're helping people and giving value in the world.
Right.
It's all about giving value.
What do I have at the end of the day? What is my contributions?
What did I get? Yeah, what did I give the world today?
Yeah.
Right. What
That's
did I do?
a great way to think about it.
I think it's the only way we all, if we all had that mindset and we all really truly understood money at an early age, this whole country would be in a different position, right? We know the country is separated, the haves and have-nots. 95% of people don't have nothing, and 5% of the people own 95% of the wealth. Mm-hmm. That's just an extreme unbalance. That's just when they say that's why education is so important, but they never tell you what education. They all just tell you, go get educated. Nothing more important than education. Yeah. The most important education we could all have is the money game.
Right.
Learn how to play it.
I agree 100%.
Learn how to play it. Learn the rule of 72. Learn it, know it, understand it.
So where's your books, man? Like, do you have a subscription? What do I do? Because I'm getting
sign
really
up.
excited here, man.
You can go to moneyconversations.com, and in there you can sign up for my program that'll be out in about 3 weeks or so. I'm just at the tail end. I got one more video to do. I've been letting everybody know about it, and there'll be a big announcement when it's out. But I teach all of these lessons. And then at the end of the lessons, I teach you how to build your own personal financial literacy roadmap. Nice. So you can. That's awesome. So you can literally write these things out. Your roadmap is your roadmap, right? Your destination's different. Everybody has a different destination, but we still need a roadmap how to get there, right? Like if you wanted to go to some address in Henderson, you punch it in on MapQuest, and it'll tell you exact route how to get there.
Did you just say MapQuest? Oh. That's a 6-year-old right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. That's a guy.
So, you could just punch it in your GPS in your car if you're in your car. It tells you exactly how to get there. Well, you need to treat your financial life the same way. Yep. You need a roadmap how to get to where you got to go. So, Dan, man, that was such a good conversation. I think we had some good takeaways out there. How, like you say, you're right. I find a lot of people just their 20s. I hate to use the word wasted because there are a lot of great life lessons I know learned in your 20s. It's just wasted with time and understanding how compounding works. You'd wish you'd have that 10 years back because that would get you tenfold later. But I appreciate you coming out and sharing the story.
Anytime, KJ. I appreciate the invite, sir. Yeah. I've never really been asked to share my experience, and it was actually very enlightening for me. So I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do that.
Awesome. So, guys, if you liked what you heard, do me a favor, smash the like button if you're on YouTube, and subscribe to my channel. If you're listening to my podcast, if this is the first one, subscribe to that one also. I get one out every week, every Wednesday morning, 7 a.m. The new one comes out. Dan's will be out in about 2 or 3 weeks. I got to see where you're at on the list. Other than that, I'll see you guys next week. Hey, everybody. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Really enjoyed making all these episodes for you. Remember, we're just having conversations with people's journey with money and the things they did right with it, the things that did wrong with it, and how did they really come about getting their mindset with money. So every episode's different. We all have a good takeaway from them. So do me a favor, hit the like button, smash the like button, and subscribe to my channel, because every episode that I do is going to be different, as all our journeys are different. So you guys take care, and we'll talk to you next week.